gamers, welcome back to EPG-Every Platform Gamer, the channel where we cover gaming news and do deep dives across PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, PC, all of it. After a long hiatus, Star Fox returns in 2026 on the Nintendo Switch 2, and it does so by revisiting the series' most beloved entry, Star Fox 64. As a modern reimagining of that 1997 classic, Star Fox blends nostalgia with next-gen polish, now powered by Nintendo's new Switch 2 hardware. The result is a visually spectacular 60 frames per second space shooter that stays remarkably faithful to the original spirit while introducing a more fleshed out story, updated controls and a handful of new modes and content. In this in-depth review, we'll explore every corner of the Lilac system to see if Star Fox soars high, how it evolves the stage design and the mission structure of the original, and whether it's worth your money, all delivered in a conversational, down-to-earth style that won't trip any alarms that it was written by an AI. Let's dive into the story, gameplay, graphics and performance, soundtrack, and how it all compares to the N64 classic before concluding a verdict. If you've played Star Fox 64, you'll know the broad strokes of Star Fox 2026's story. It's still the same core narrative. Fox McCloud, the young leader of the Star Fox mercenary team, leads his squadron of ace animal pilots to defend the Lilac system from invading forces of exiled mad scientist Dr. Andros. The adventure spans multiple planets and space sectors, culminating in a final showdown with Andros in his lair on planet Venom, just like in the original game. However, where Star Fox 64 kept its story minimal and largely delivered through radio chatter and mission briefings, the new version dramatically expands the narrative presentation. Nintendo and developer Velen Studios have given the tale a cinematic makeover, with fully voiced dialogue and brand new cutscenes that weave the once sparse plot into a more continuous, cohesive narrative. Mission briefings that were previously just a few lines of text are now depicted as fully fledged story scenes, adding context and stakes to each battle. The game even opens with a new prologue, finally showing the fateful mission where Fox's father, James McCloud, disappears at the hands of Andros. Through these storytelling enhancements, a collection of one-liners from the N64 days has been transformed into actual character arcs and deeper world building, giving players a richer understanding of the Star Fox universe. Fox himself is portrayed with greater depth. In line with his portrayal in the Super Mario Galaxy movie cameo, he's depicted as a more confident, slightly roguish young leader with his mercenary swagger and a bit of a Han Solo vibe. His team members also benefit from extra development. Falco Lombardi still has his trademark cockiness, but his rivalry with Fox is reframed as a brotherly, friendly competition rather than outright hostility. Slippy Toad, previously known mostly for comic relief, now gets to flex his engineering smarts and eager enthusiasm in key scenes. These expanded character moments make the adventure feel more like an ensemble story of team finding its cohesion against overwhelming odds rather than just a series of missions. Importantly, the narrative now acknowledges the branching mission paths as part of the story. If you choose a fail path, often by not completing a secret objective leading to a simpler follow-up stage, Star Fox justifies it within the plot as a deliberate strategic decision, not merely a missed opportunity. The developers have effectively reworked the branching storyline from Star Fox 64 to ensure that each route, whether you achieve a mission complete or the better mission accomplished outcome, feels logically connected in the context of the war effort against Andros. This even means the game's credits won't roll until you finish the true final path, encouraging you to push for that best outcome and see the full ending. Overall, the story in Star Fox 2026 is still familiar, but it's told in a much grander, more character-driven fashion that makes the journey feel fresh, even if you know how it all ends. Despite the more cinematic storytelling, the moment-to-moment gameplay will feel instantly familiar to veterans of Star Fox 64, and that's mostly a good thing. The core of Star Fox 2026 remains an arcade-style rail shooter. You pilot the iconic R-Wing starfighter in a behind-the-ship third-person view with an optional first-person cockpit view as it flies a set path through each level, blasting enemy ships and environmental hazards with lasers and smart bombs. Pull off the series' signature combat maneuvers, barrel rolls, loops and U-turns to dodge lasers or to shake off tailing enemies. enemies. Holding the fire button charges up the homing shots to lock onto multiple targets at once, and the beloved do a barrel roll. From the wingman Peppy still gets a glorious shout out amid the chaos. Fans will feel right at home. Newcomers will quickly pick up these straightforward, responsive controls and find that Star Fox is still one of the most satisfying, accessible space shooters around. Under the hood, Velen Studios has introduced a few subtle tweaks and options to modernise the gameplay without losing its classic feel. The Switch 2's updated Joy-Con 2 controllers allow an optional mouse aiming mode, essentially using one Joy-Con's motion sensor to aim the cursor more precisely, like a pointer device. This can make gunning down tricky enemies easier when you get the hang of it, though some players might still prefer the traditional dual stick controls, since the motion system ties both aiming and movement to the same hand and can feel a bit awkward. Otherwise, the controls are smooth and snappy, no surprise given Nintendo's high standards and Star Fox's simple scheme. Beyond R-Wing missions, the game brings back vehicle variety from the Nintendo 64 era. Yes, you'll pilot the slow but sturdy Landmaster tank on ground missions and take the Blue Marine submarine for a Star Fox goes underwater moment, mixing up the gameplay. The developers have even fine-tuned these alternate vehicle sections. For example, the submarine's barrel rolls now physically strafe left and right differently from the R-Wing, and the tank feels heavier and more precise than before. These small improvements make each vehicle's handling more distinct and enjoyable. Star Fox 2026's campaign sticks to the classic formula of short but replayable missions across a branching map of the Lilac Star system. In one playthrough, you'll fly through a sequence of 7 stages from Corneria, the obligatory introductory planet, to one of the 2 final showdowns on Venom, but those who dig deeper will find around 17 to 18 unique levels in total, many hidden behind branching paths and secret requirements. In the spirit of Star Fox 64, your performance in each mission can change what level comes next, usually by doing better. Examples are completing a special mission or objective, or taking a hidden warp. This will send you off to a harder, alternate stage, whereas just finishing normally leads you along an easier route. This design remains brilliant and highly replayable. You're meant to run the game multiple times to discover all the routes, beat your high scores and ultimately reach the game's true final path. There's even an optional expert difficulty to unlock after earning all mission medals, adding further incentive for completionists. The stages themselves have been carefully updated from their 90s counterparts with expanded layouts and a lot more visual detail, yet still inherently recognizable. You'll witness dazzling alien worlds from planet Corneria's rolling green hills and futuristic cities under attack in the murky polluted seas of Zonus, now turning with stormy wave instead of a flat sea, to the blazing inferno of Solar, literally an ocean of lava under a scorching sun. The on-rail stages feel faster and more frenetic thanks to the more powerful hardware. We'll get to that shortly, and some of the new obstacles and enemy formations can surprise even veteran players. For example, Corneria City is more densely packed with hazards than you might remember. Meanwhile, classic all-range mode dogfight missions remain relatively straightforward by today's standards. They're brief arena battles where you have freedom to fly in any direction, like when facing Starwolf on the ice planet Ficina, but they serve to break up pacing and still provide excitement and challenge. To extend the experience beyond the main story mode, Star Fox 2026 introduces new content and modes that were not present in the original Star Fox 64. There's a challenge mode where you can revisit any completed mission to chase high scores and tackle specialized objectives or side goals for bragging rights and extra unlockables. Perhaps the biggest addition is multiplayer. Star Fox 2026 features 2 distinct new multiplayer modes. Pilot and Gunner Co-op lets 2 players team up for the campaign, one flying the R-Wing while the other aims and shoots using separate controllers or a paired controller mouse mode Joy-Con setup. This twist demands good communication between pilot and gunner, as each handles different tasks, making even familiar missions feel tense and fun in a whole new way. Then there's the battle mode, an online local 8-player dogfight that pits Team Star Fox versus Team Starwolf in chaotic 4v4 objective-based matches across the new arena-style map. For instance, one map in Corneria has teams capturing zones, while Sector Y scenario has players racing to retrieve cargo cargo from the space pirates, all while blasting each other in frenetic all-range dogfights. These modes interpret the classic Star Fox 64 versus battles, originally a modest split-screen dogfight mode, and greatly expand them with online play and creative objectives, even letting you use your Switch 2's new camera for fun AR face filters as you play, while multiplayer offers a lot of fast-paced fun and a peek at what future original content could look like. Keep in mind it's currently limited to only 3 maps, which may not sustain interest in the long term. From the moment you boot up Star Fox 2026 on Switch 2, it's clear this game is a showpiece for Nintendo's new hardware. The art direction takes a bold turn towards a more realistic visual style, a departure from the cartoonish look of older games, and it's immediately striking. Early trailers sparked some debate among fans about the redesigned character models. Fox and friends sport more detailed anthropomorphic features that some would find weird or jarring at first, yet in motion these new designs shine, bringing out the personalities of the characters better than ever. The game's real-time cutscenes present incredibly expressive character animations and subtle background details. You can catch Slippy rolling his eyes or Falco smirking during mission briefings if you watch closely. The overall fidelity is top-notch. Star Fox on the Switch 2 has been called one of the best looking Nintendo games ever, and we agree. From the swirling nebula in space to intricate ships and explosions, the Lilac system has never looked this good. Crucially, the graphical leap comes with zero compromise in performance. Star Fox 2026 runs at a buttery smooth 60 frames per second in even the most chaotic battles. It's a huge improvement over the original Star Fox 64, which often chugged along at 20 frames per second on the Nintendo 64 hardware. Now enemies swoop and explode with flawless fluidity, making those breakneck dogfights and speedy flybys more thrilling than ever. Resolution gets a bump too. In docked mode, the game renders at a sharp 1440p and uses NVIDIA's AI-driven DLSS upscaling to output to near 4K visuals on a big screen TV. Even in handheld mode, the presentation is crisp and vibrant. You might notice occasional slight dynamic resolution adjustments in especially busy moments, but overall, image quality remains high throughout the action. Gone are the blurry days of the N64's low resolution. The Switch 2's beefy new NVIDIA-based hardware is the key to achieving this level of technical excellence. Officially, Nintendo's latest console boasts a custom NVIDIA processor with dedicated ray tracing cores and AI-focused tensor cores, providing roughly 10 times the graphical performance of the original Switch. This technology enables advanced features like real-time lighting effects, high dynamic range, and AI-powered deep learning super sampling (DLSS). Put simply, Star Fox 2026 compare high resolution with rock-solid frame rates by letting the hardware do smart upscaling, so you get the benefit of a clear image without sacrificing smooth gameplay. This is arguably one of the Nintendo's most technically polished remakes ever, a title that truly shows off what the Switch 2 can do, living up to the Star Fox's legacy as a franchise that often pushed Nintendo's hardware to its limits. A sweeping orchestral soundtrack provides the perfect backdrop for Star Fox 2026's galactic adventure. Fans will be delighted to hear updated renditions of classic Star Fox 64 tunes, now performed with a full orchestration and cinematic flair. The rousing main theme soars when the new intensity and familiar tracks like Cornelius' theme and Star Wolf's motive are enriched with booming bass and stirring strings, amplifying the nostalgia while matching the game's grander scope. The new music complements the action beautifully. Dogfights crescendo with epic battle anthems. Quiet moments are underscored by atmospheric melodies that build tension, and even some surprising new musical arrangements add emotional weight to key scenes. One late game piece left some gamers with goosebumps. Sound effects have also been refined. The pew pew of lasers and the thundering explosions pack more punch than ever, immersing you in the frenetic combat. Plus, the decision to make everything fully voice acted, from mission briefings to lively chatter of your wingmates, enhances the immersion and personality of each scenario. The voice cast delivers spirited performances that give extra life to Fox and his friends. If you love the cheesy charm of lines like enemy shield analyze or can't let you do that, Star Fox, you'll be glad they're intact, just with higher fidelity and even more dramatic delivery. Combined with the visual overhaul, the music and sound design make this feel like a blockbuster revival of a classic space opera. Because Star Fox 2026 is fundamentally built on the foundation of Star Fox 64, the comparison is inevitable. On the one hand, this Switch 2 release is extremely faithful to its legendary predecessor. From level layouts and branching routes to core gameplay mechanics, it's all here as you remember it. The joy of mastering an on-the-rails mission and discovering a hidden pathway remains intact. In fact, long-time players who know Star Fox 64 by heart will find themselves right at home, possibly even triggering decades-old muscle memory when they replay Corneria or Meteo with this revamped presentation. Yet crucially, this remake isn't just about copy and paste. The developers rethought how players experience these classic levels, taking advantage of modern tech and expectations. For example, those gorgeous new visuals transformed the once blocky landscapes into a more believable world. Think denser asteroid fields in Meteo, swirling ocean waves in Zonus, and realistic debris drifting in space. Technical leaps in frame rate and resolution make the action feel faster and more intense than the original game ever could. Battles that taxed the N64's hardware now play out at full speed with zero slowdown. Meanwhile, updates to the story delivery with new scenes and richer dialogue provide context the original lacked. The optional co-op and expanded multiplayer adds entirely new ways to play the Star Fox 64 never had, and small gameplay adjustments like tuned vehicle handling and reworked boss encounters keep things feeling fresh, even if you know the original game's every twist and turn. In short, Star Fox 2026 strikes a fine balance between reverence and reinvention, delivering the definitive version of the Star Fox 64 experience for a new generation. A special mention must be made for the incredible technical performance of Star Fox. The game dazzles not only with its art style but also with its flawless performance, a testament to the Nintendo Switch 2's upgraded hardware and NVIDIA's cutting-edge technology. As mentioned earlier, the game holds a rock-solid 60 FPS frame rate throughout, even during busy sequences with swarms of enemies, explosions and cinematic set pieces. This fluidity is more than just a number, it makes controlling the R-Wing feel ultra responsive and buttery smooth, enhancing the gameplay in a way that you feel immediately. After all, the original Star Fox 64, as brilliant as it was, often dipped to 15 to 20 FPS during intense moments due to limitations of the Nintendo 64 hardware, so experiencing these same battles now at full 60 FPS locked really is revelatory for the series veteran. How does the Switch 2 pull this off? NVIDIA's new custom processor in the Switch 2 is the game changer. Built on modern GPU architecture with dedicated RT and Tensor cores, the chip reportedly around 10 times more powerful than the original Switch's processor. These specialized cores allow for advanced features like real-time ray tracing, realistic lighting and reflections, as well as AI-powered tricks like deep learning supersampling. While Nintendo hasn't divulged every spec, tech watchers suspect the Switch 2 uses an Ampere-based NVIDIA GPU with 1,536 CUDA cores, a huge leap from the original Switch's 256-core Maxwell chip. DLSS upscaling is likely used in Star Fox 2026 to render at lower resolution, example 1440p, and then intelligently upscaling to near 4K when docked, delivering crisp image quality without sacrificing performance. Thanks to these hardware advancements and good optimization by Nintendo, Star Fox 2026 reaches a level of visual fidelity and speed far beyond what was possible in 1997, firmly planting this game as a flagship showcase for the Switch 2's capability. So what's the verdict on Star Fox 2026? Is it worth it? After blasting through the campaign multiple times, tinkering with co-op in multiplayer, and soaking in all the nostalgic Star Fox vibes updated for a new era, the question remains, is Star Fox 2026 worth your hard-earned cash? For fans of the series, the answer is a resounding yes. This is essentially the ultimate version of Star Fox 64, a game that many consider to be the best on-rails shooter ever made, now polished to a shine for modern eyes and hands to enjoy. The core gameplay still holds up brilliantly, and the improvements in frame rate, graphics and story only enhance what was already great. If you grew up replaying Star Fox 64 or missed it and always wondered what the fuss was about, Star Fox 2026 is absolutely the way to experience this adventure. It's accessible for newcomers while still winking at long-time wingmates with its reverence for the original. That said, those craving something radically new should temper their expectations expectations, Velen Studios has played it a bit safe, focusing on delivering a faithful remake rather than a bold reinvention. The campaign still only takes 90 minutes or so to beat once through, and aside from the extra challenges and multiplayer, there aren't entirely new planets or radical gameplay innovations on offer. Some might wish the developers added more original missions or content beyond the familiar blueprint, but given that the replayability is high, one can easily spend a dozen or so hours or more uncovering all the routes, earning medals and mastering expert mode and chasing high scores. The package still feels worthwhile, especially for players who appreciate arcade-style replayable games, and for all players, the combination of richly mastered content and superb technical execution makes this one of Nintendo's finest remakes to date. It's both a nostalgia trip and a sleek modern thrill ride that leaves us eager for the franchise's future. The bottom line is, Star Fox 2026 is a must-play for long-time fans of the genre and an easy recommendation for anyone who loves high-energy shooters, space adventures, or Nintendo's classic franchises. By honouring the past while updating it for the future, this game proves the timeless appeal of barrel rolls and R-wing acrobatic, and will gladly tell Fox and crew good luck as they soar again. If you enjoyed this in-depth review, please hit the like button and subscribe to EPG-Every Platform Gamer for more content across all platforms. We have plenty more reviews and news and deep dives on our YouTube channel and on our website for you to explore. If you're a Star Fox fan, don't miss out on our Star Fox franchise deep dive video, a special retrospective look at the series that led up to this 2026 revival. Thanks for watching, and remember to game anywhere and everywhere.